Some people don't just annoy you, they drain you, provoke you, and live inside your mind long after they're gone. They don't need power to control you, they just need a reaction. But Stoicism teaches something dangerous. The moment you become unprovocable, you become untouchable. Everyone has toxic people in their life. People who criticize, manipulate, or constantly try to pull you into emotional chaos. And the more you try to fix them, argue with them, or prove them wrong, the more exhausted you become. Stoicism offers a different path. Not fighting toxic people, but rising above them. In this video, you'll learn 5 Stoic principles that will help you stay calm, protect your peace, and make sure no one ever controls your emotions again. One of the most important lessons Stoicism teaches is this: if someone can provoke you, they control you, not through force, not through authority, but through your emotions. And emotional control is the most powerful form of control there is. Think about what happens when someone insults you, disrespects you, or tries to trigger you. Your mood changes instantly. Your mind replays their words again and again. Your body fills with tension. You feel anger, frustration, the urge to respond. They spoke for a few seconds, but you carry the disturbance long after they're gone. So ask yourself honestly, in that moment, who is in control? You or them? The Stoics understood something most people never realize. Provocation is a form of psychological manipulation. When someone can control your reaction, they can control your state of mind. And when they control your state of mind, they influence your peace, your focus, your behavior. Most people react instantly. They argue, defend, explain, fight back. But every reaction sends the same message: you have power over how I feel. This is why Stoics trained themselves to pause, not to suppress emotion, not to pretend nothing happened, but to create space between what happens and how they respond. Because in that space lies freedom. Freedom to stay calm, freedom to remain silent, freedom to choose peace instead of impulse. The moment you refuse to react automatically, you take your power back. Because when you cannot be provoked, you cannot be controlled. And when no one can control your emotions, you become truly free. The Stoics believed something that most people struggle to accept. An insult, by itself, is nothing. It has no power, no weight, no meaning, until you give it meaning. When someone says something offensive, what actually hurts you is not the words themselves, but your judgment about those words. You decide what they mean. You decide how serious they are. You decide whether they matter. And that decision creates the pain. Think about it. 2 people hear the exact same insult. One laughs and moves on. The other feels deeply wounded, replaying it again and again in their mind. The words were identical. So why was the experience different? Because the suffering did not come from the insult. It came from interpretation. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught this clearly. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. In other words, events are neutral. Your mind gives them emotional charge. An insult is just sound, carried through the air, a vibration, reaching your ears. But the moment your mind says, "This is disrespect, this is unacceptable, this is personal," that is when suffering begins. Not outside you, but within you. Most people try to control what others say. They want respect, approval, validation. But Stoicism teaches a far more powerful skill. Control how you interpret what is said. When you change your judgment, you change your emotional experience. The insult does not shrink. Your reaction does. And when your reaction shrinks, its power disappears. This is true emotional independence, because when you realize that meaning is created in your mind, you stop being a victim of other people's words. They can speak, but they cannot define your peace. And the moment their words lose emotional weight, they lose their ability to hurt you. Most people see toxic behavior and assume strength. They see aggression, dominance, harsh words, control, and they think, this person is powerful. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Toxic behavior is not a sign of strength. It is a sign of weakness. Because truly strong people do not need to dominate others. They do not need to insult, provoke, or control. They do not need to drain others to feel stable themselves. Toxic behavior is almost always compensation. Compensation for insecurity, compensation for inner chaos, compensation for a lack of control over one's own emotions. Think about it carefully. A person who is calm within does not create storms around others. A person who is secure does not need to belittle. A person who is emotionally stable does not seek constant reactions. When someone constantly provokes, criticizes, or manipulates, they are revealing something, not about you, but about themselves. They are revealing instability, emotional dependence, inner discomfort they cannot regulate. So they try to regulate themselves by controlling others. This is why Stoics did not respond to toxic people with an anger, but with understanding, not approval, not acceptance of bad behavior, but clarity. Clarity that toxic actions are symptoms, not superiority. When you see toxicity as weakness, something changes inside you. You stop feeling intimidated. You stop feeling personally attacked. You stop feeling the need to win. Because you are no longer facing power, you are witnessing instability. And once you see that clearly, your emotional reaction softens, not into submission, but into detachment. You no longer fight storms. You simply refuse to stand in the rain. And when you stop mistaking weakness for strength, toxic people lose their psychological grip on you. One of the greatest sources of frustration in life is the desire to change other people, to make them understand, to make them behave differently, to make them see what they refuse to see. But Stoicism teaches a difficult truth. You cannot control other minds. You cannot force awareness. And you cannot correct someone who does not want to change. The more you try, the more you suffer. People spend endless energy arguing, explaining, defending, proving themselves. But what does it bring? Exhaustion, frustration, inner disturbance, because you are trying to control something that was never yours to control. The Stoics understood a simple principle. Some things are within your control, and some things are not. Your thoughts, your reactions, your choices, these are yours. Other people's behavior, opinions, and attitudes are not. Peace begins the moment you stop confusing. When you stop trying to fix others, you gain the power to master yourself. Instead of asking, why are they like this? You begin asking, how will I respond to this? And that shift changes everything. Because self-control is always possible, but controlling others is endless struggle. The Stoic does not fight to change difficult people. They change their response. And the person who masters their response cannot be disturbed by those who refuse to change. Most people think strength means reacting, confronting, fighting back. But Stoicism teaches something far more powerful. Indifference is strength, not coldness, not suppression, not pretending nothing matters, but the ability to remain emotionally untouched by what is not worth your energy. Toxic people survive on reaction. Attention feeds them, emotion fuels them, engagement gives them importance, but indifference starves them. When you stop reacting, stop explaining, stop defending, stop needing them to understand, their power disappears, because what they wanted was access to your emotional world. And indifference quietly closes the door. A Stoic does not waste energy on every insult, every opinion, every provocation. They choose carefully what deserves attention, and most things do not. This is not weakness. This is emotional discipline, because when nothing unnecessary disturbs you, no one can control you, and when no one can control you, you become truly powerful. You cannot control toxic people. You cannot control what they say, how they behave, or who they choose to be. But you can control something far greater. Your reactions, your judgments, your emotional boundaries. The moment they lose access to your inner peace, they lose their power over you. That is the Stoic path. Not fighting chaos, but becoming untouchable by it. Protect your peace. Guard your mind, and remember, the strongest person is not the one who reacts, but the one who remains unmoved. If this helped you see things differently, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and start mastering what truly belongs to you, your mind.